Guys, how we doing? Thank you for joining me. Special edition Chair Shot Sports. I'm your man, John Anthony. Guys, Tuesday is definitely a day you don't hear from me doing special edition shows. But guys, what happened tonight on NXT need to be talked about, need to be addressed, is definitely being talked about throughout the wrestling world. First off, Roxanne Perez needed a new contender for NXT Battleground in Las Vegas on June 9th. Ava comes over the top, the general manager of NXT, and names Jordan Grace. That name might sound a little familiar to you. That's because she is the TNA Women's Champion over on Impact. She has now crossed over for the second time this year, once in the Royal Rumble and now on NXT to challenge for the NXT Women's title. Amazing, amazing stuff. Also, to get to the second part of our surprise, Sexy Red also made her NXT debut, if you will, on NXT. I'm sorry, in WWE. So that was cool. Little crossover there. She's going to be the guest host, if you will, in Las Vegas at Battleground. So the same thing that AEW has done, having people host. WWE has done this thing where they have, special guest hosts and things like that of their events. And I get it. It's in Vegas. So obviously you want to do something big. You want to have a big name, something going on like that. Maybe Sexy Red wasn't the best name to pick. It makes sense. It does have some new music coming out. I believe she's dropping a new album. It works out in the whole scheme of things, so that's cool. So she was there as well. Guys, the ending of NXT, if you did not see it, man, everyone's been looking to see who is attacking Meta-4, who's taking out all the members in the group. Lash finally addresses Trick in the middle of the ring. I need you to tell me the truth. What's going on? Lights go out. The lights come back on. Now, I can tell you right now, I, for one, was expecting some sort of Wyatt 6 member. I was expecting it. I know on NXT, you wouldn't think on that, on the quote-unquote third brand, you would have that happen, but I was waiting for some sort of Wyatt 6, Uncle Howdy stuff to go down. Lights come back on. All ego Ethan Page is all WWE, folks. Ethan Page has made his debut on WWE television, attacking the NXT champion, Trick Williams. Guys, this is nuts. These are signings and things that are going. The biggest thing, let me reset. Again, I have no script. I'm not looking down at paper. I just knew we had to talk about this. I had some feelings about this. I wanted to talk about it. And I hope a lot of you watch this episode and feel the same way that I do. This whole tribalism thing with AEW and WWE. I've been a WWE guy since I was 5 years old. So I'm going on 35 years, right? AEW, 5 years. I've watched it since day one. Have I liked their product? No. Some of it's been trash. Have I liked WWE product? Hell no. Plenty of years of trash with WWE. There's a good span of like 8 to 10 years where it was just garbage. So listen, this right here, what's going on, okay, what you need to realize is this. What you need to remember is WWE NXT is leaving USA. They're going to the CW. They're going to be a stand-alone wrestling product on a network by themselves. They don't have the USA lead-in where, well, if you're watching Raw, make sure you watch NXT tomorrow night. No, you don't have that anymore. SmackDown will have that for a little bit, and then SmackDown's by itself on USA. Raw jumps over to Netflix, and NXT is over on CW. Every one of the brands is on its own cable television network. I've said it before. I've been saying it for a long time. NXT, Nick Khan and Paul Levesque don't have NXT. Yes, it is developmental. It's always going to be a developmental. It's the brand that runs out of the PC. It's the brand that houses the rookies, the up-and-comers. the guys who sign out of college, the guys and gals that sign out of college. But what you're going to see is NXT is also going to be the brand that signs hot talent in the industry. And yet, am I saying Ethan Page is burning the ground down? Is going to be your next NXT world champion? Is that going to put all the butts in the seats at the PC? And if they start taking NXT on the road, maybe not. But I'll tell you right now, people in AEW are going to hear about what happened tonight. And they're going to be like, wait a minute. Maybe they didn't know who Ethan Page was before they watched AEW. They only know them from there. Now you want to, like, man, I really miss All Ego. I kind of want to see him wrestle. You're going to tune into WWE. The biggest thing for me is, what I started to say before we got into all that, this one signing and the person who would challenge Roxanne at Battleground were kept under such wraps that I can truly say, and I think I hit on this a couple months ago, Paul, Nick, and the management with TKO and WWE have taken care of all the leaks in that organization. Yeah, you'll get a lucky one here and there. You know, like today out of AEW and actually out of WWE, they were talking about Adam Copeland. And again, I'd like to take this time to wish Adam Copeland a very speedy recovery. If you haven't heard, Cope suffered a fractured tibia in his match against Malachi Black for the TNT title in their barbed wire steel cage match. So Chairshot Sports would love to send a very heartfelt get well soon, and hopefully you are back in the ring sooner than later, hopefully sometime in early 2025. With that being said, I think that WWE has sewn up all of its leaks, all the people who were talking to the dirt sheets. It's almost one of those things where we've talked about where AEW kind of stacks their scrums with people who are AEW. WWE, I don't think really cares who comes to their scrums or their media press conferences, whatever you want to call it. Case in point, Triple H, I believe it was Backlash. People were asking him, again, I apologize, I'm still getting over a cold. It's allergies. It sucks. Those of you who have allergies, I'm dealing with this pollen. It looks like it's snowing outside. It's ridiculous. People talking to Triple H about contract statuses, what happened with people. Drew Gulak in particular, and what happened with him, why his contract ran out, and Triple H kind of being like, hey, you guys need to get some good sources, first off, and then come talk to me. So, I say all that to go back, end around to the tribalism thing. Listen, guys, if you watch my show, if you follow us on X, you follow me on Insta, you follow me on Facebook, all right? Make sure also, too, to follow us on our inaugural radio show, 6 o'clock every Saturday, moving forward on 105 The Block on Live 365 app radio. Appreciate that. Really hope you guys tune in. That is going to be a total different show from what you hear and what you get here on YouTube. That is going to be pretty much a coverage of most of the week of wrestling going to the next week. So, cheap plug. Shout out to McFoley. With that being said, guys, tribalism has to stop. I know on my page, I call it AEW, I call it WWE, and that's when, not for nothing, X is very toxic. If you have an account and you've been on there for a while, you feel what I'm saying, and you feel the sentiment that all of a sudden the accounts that have 12 followers and 13 people following them, like talking mad shit to you and saying mad insults and talking about your family and you don't know wrestling. Those are burner accounts. Okay? They're not E-drones, whatever you guys call them. What do you call them? AEW neckbeards. Those aren't anything planted. Those are burner accounts from people who want to talk shit about the company they don't like. And that's okay. That's okay. If you don't like WWE, don't watch it. I've said this before. You don't like AEW, don't watch it. But guys, wrestling is cooking. And right now, NXT has All Ego Ethan Page and Jordan Grace, the TNA Women's Champion, wrestling on their brand as of this week. Guys, 6 months ago, this would not be a thing. Does Becky Lynch go to AEW? Probably not. Could she? Maybe. Ricochet's contract's up in about I think it's 3 weeks. Does Ricochet go to AEW? Maybe. I don't think we're looking at something like a WWE esque, I'm sorry, WWF esque Monday Night War thing where everyone starts jumping brands. But that's in the eye of the beholder. That's the great thing about wrestling right now. And I'm not trying to forget about TNA. Because TNA, I think, just needs, they're 4 or 5 stars away and not taking anything away from that roster that they have right now. The roster that TNA has right now is amazing. Phenomenal athletes, men and women alike, over on that brand. TNA literally needs 5 or 6 guys from each company to go, you know what, let's go over here. Let's go help these guys and make TNA a third wrestling brand, let alone NXT being the third brand in the company. Let's make TNA the third wrestling brand behind WWE and AEW, because for what it is, that's what they are, okay, at this point in time. But there are some things that could happen in TNA that would be amazing and could rival WWE and AEW. I tweeted out a little bit ago, about an hour and a half ago, I am a big proponent. I think this TNA partnership where they're letting her wrestle, Jordan Grace wrestle on WWE TV, we need to have an NXT TNA Worlds Collide pay-per-view. I joked about it. I think we're supposed to call this a Forbidden Door. Again, no offense. I'm sure I'll get heat for it online. And I'm sure I'll get it here in the comments here on this. I'm not taking a shot at Tony, okay? Love you, Tony. We'll love to have you on the show sometime. But the Forbidden Door applies to a lot of other people. It's not just AEW and New Japan. It's a lot of other. It's AEW and TNA. It's AEW, WWE, WWE and TNA, WWE, New Japan. It's all of them are forbidden doors, but it's not forbidden anymore when you've done it for 3 straight pay-per-views. My biggest takeaway from that and detractment of that is you need to stop calling it Forbidden Door, because I get it, but it's losing. It was awesome the first year it happened, amazing matches. We'll probably have a show in another couple of days where we talk about a made up, put together Worlds Collide of NXT and TNA Impact, of how that card would look, of who's on the rosters right now. I think that's something that we'll look at, something to invest money in. And not for nothing, Nick Khan and Paul Levesque are all about making money. And TNA right now, under the new ownership that they have, is very much looking to get new eyes on their product. And WWE is definitely the way to do that. So, guys, just want to have a quick episode, talk about this. We have a lot of feelings. I know I did. Seeing Ethan Page at the end of NXT was amazing and wild, and it just tells me that what WWE is doing for that brand, moving into the CW in the fall, I can almost promise you and predict it right now that NXT will be a formidable third brand in the WWE world and be going on the road, doing their house shows, being just as prominent as what AEW does with Collision and their secondary shows as well. So with that being said, guys, everyone have an amazing week. We'll catch up with you in a couple days, talking about some TNA, NXT, Worlds Collide stuff. Until then, everyone be good. Pour yourself a cold drink. Enjoy the night.